freezing.
Hello, everyone. Well, and we are so glad you are here. And as Lucy just said, it is a bit freezing up here. If you're joining live, just pop into the chat and where you're joining from and the role you have in your school. If you're a head teacher, deputy, Senko, school business manager, whatever context you're leading in. Today is really simple. We are going to go through the planners, each of the different roles and what's inside the planners and all the updates for this year. And there's no pressure to buy or anything like that. You can stay on the live, you don't worry, and we will share the recording later on. And if you do have any questions about planners, just pop them into the chat. We'll pause at a certain time to look at the questions that are coming up, and hopefully we have a proper Q&A at the end. So tell us where you're joining from, what your role is, and ask any questions as we go along.
Oh.
So we're going to go through a couple of sections. We're going to go through the planners page by page so you can see what's in it. We're going to go through the leadership sections of the school leader planner in particular, so you can see what is actually in those ones. And then we're going to go through the school business manager, and then we're going to go through the Senko and teacher planner. We've got some new updates for this year. We've got the termly safeguarding and school improvement task list, and we're going to go and talk through those as well. Lucy's going to also talk through the time blocking pages on the weekly spread, so you can see those. And the biggest topic that comes across on all our planners, we're going to go through the meeting notes and the briefing notes as well, because they're always important. Everyone asks loads of questions about that. But then we have questions and answers at the end, so you can answer any questions about the planners, and hopefully we can help you out on that. So, Lou, just starting off, why did you create these planners in the first place? Because it's an interesting story, isn't it, really?
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Lucy. Well, it's a bit of a story, to be fair. These were my notebooks from when I was at school. I've been every single one of the roles that are on the titles of the planners, apart from school business manager. So I've been head teacher, deputy head, assistant head, Senko, inclusion lead. And I used to make my own homemade planners, as Jonathan will very painfully remember me sitting on the table every Sunday night creating my own planner for the week. In it, I would put all of my titles that I knew I would commonly come across. So, for example, when I was inclusion lead, I would always put things like impact of interventions for year 2, year 3, year 4, year 1, things like that. Also, send provision. I'd put those sorts of titles on. When I was a school leader, a head teacher, for example, I'd be thinking about governors, budget, teaching and learning. So I'd pre-populate all my pages, and it would take me ages. And then I was responsible for different areas of the school. So for each area of the school, I had a different notebook. And it got to a point, didn't it, Jonathan and I was carrying around a trolley to school every week. Because I had a different notebook for every area, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I need to just put it into one. So I did. I put it into one, and now we have the notebooks, the planners behind me, which have got all of your leadership information behind. So that's the story of the planner.
Yeah, and I always say at this point that I like the monthly overview, and that's the main part of the planner that I helped create, because I really wanted to know what was coming up in the diary for different events. For example, my example would be governors meetings 2 weeks before. I need to get all the paperwork ready for it. So it was more of a sort of like keeping me on task of what was coming up. So if we really go through the structure of the planners, and I'm going to go to the leadership section first. So can you go through the leadership section and explain for a school leader, a head teacher, deputy, principal, what is in that planner for them?
Yeah, sure. So if I just show you the planners that we've got for this year. So these are all new. Yeah, so we've got Meadow, which is the planner on the left, on my left. It's very pretty, very beautiful design. In fact, you can see it behind me. Meadow, and then we have Cottage, which is like a very dark green. And then we have Contemporary, and each one comes in all of the leadership, all of the titles. So Meadow comes in Principal, Head Teacher, Deputy, Assistant Head, SENCO, School Leader, School Business Manager and Teacher. So if you like Meadow, that might be your one. Or you might prefer the Cottage, which also has all the different titles of Principal, Head, Deputy, Assistant, SENCO, School Leader, School Business Manager or Teacher. And then lastly, our Contemporary, which is the same titles again. So each one has different leadership sections depending on your role. So if you're going to look at, say, for example, the Head Teacher one, each planner has, let me just take this off. Each planner has a calendar, a diary, meeting notes, and then near the back, they have the important information tab. And in the important information tab, you have lots of different things according to your role. So in the Head Teacher Planner, you've got staffing, you've got key documents, key documents, Statutory Policy Checklist, as you can see there. Fiddly this, Jonathan.
We try to put it to make it that you know where everything is. So within the leadership part, you've got things on the school development plan. You've got things on the SEF that you can, as you're going along, if you notice anything, it's recording it down. So later on, you can add it to your SEF and your school development plan. You've got all your budget notes. So again, it's sort of like if you have a budget meeting and you just want to jot down what some of the things that you want to focus on, you can jot it in your planner and then use it in your documentation. I mean, the great thing through this is also within the leadership section, we have a whole section on impact of SEND, which is quite poignant with the new framework of the Ofsted, where you're really looking at what the impact of what you are. So that could be used to collate what your meeting notes and things like that to say what the impact of SEND is. So actually we got a load of the cover of the basis of what is in the new Ofsted framework, and actually that will be able to help you out. It's all about the impact you're making in your school. Can you see it? And you're noting down all those impacts that are around. So Lucy's going through and showing through all the different pages on that. And it is really focusing on what, for you as a head teacher or school leader, to jot down all your information you'll find. We find that when we're talking to head teachers about the planner, it's basically you're carrying it around with you. You're jotting down things all the time. You're making notes of things. So it's not having a post-it note. It's basically using the planner to contain all your information. So the post-it notes don't get lost.
Yeah, I used to have so many post-it notes on my desk. And I used to think, where have I put that really important bit of paper with, I don't know, somebody's name on it that I need to contact, or, you know, and because there were so many post-it notes, they easily get lost. And it used to make me so worried. And so now I just have all the pages all pre-populated. So, for example, here's the assembly planner. I think, oh, what am I going to do this term? My newsletter planner. I've got governor's notes, budget notes, even performance management tracker for myself. So when I get into that meeting, I know I've written down notes throughout the term to remind me what I've done, because sometimes it's easy to forget. But I think we forget how much we do as school leaders. So actually, it's good to have a little space to jot down. A teaching and learning tracker is also very useful. So if you're walking around and you spot something, you've got somewhere to write it. And as Jonathan said, the SEF and the SIP, there's space in the planner to prepare for that. So I thought of everything that you would come across as a leader, and I've pre-populated the pages for you. One of our most requested pages were the meeting notes. We have kept those in for you again this year, and we tried to fit in more. So there's meeting notes and there's briefing notes. so that when you go to meetings, you're all ready to go. You've got somewhere to write things down.
I mean, carrying on from this, is sort of like in the leadership section, we have got the new termly tasks, haven't we, as well? So we worked quite closely with John Leverve, who, if you're in the Facebook group, you know him quite well. He does a lot of safeguarding. He was an ex-head teacher. He helped us come up with these pages.
Yeah. So I don't know if we've got some really good pages with all of your tasks in for the autumn, in terms of your school improvement tasks, your financial tasks, and your safeguarding tasks, and your financial year. So if you're a school leader, that is a really helpful couple of pages provided to us by John, which was really helpful. So thank you to John. But we don't just have it for the autumn, we've also got it for spring and also for summer. So it's a really useful reminder of, oh yes, I've got to remember to do this next term. It's a really helpful page.
And then on top of that, another question we get asked quite a lot is about the policy page. Now, the policy page of all the updates of the statutory information and the policy information, they are as up to date as they can be from the government website. And it's been checked through recently, so they are spot on to what you actually need. So, and there's also space if you need some in the statutory documents as well, if you want to add more things into there. So it's always important to keep on top of your policies and where they are and the notes and things. And so that's why we got in that. I mean, the next bit, Lou, is actually going through the time blocking thing, because we are huge advocates of actually making sure you have your block time in a day. And the most important part of this is actually talking to head teachers, is actually making sure they have time for themselves to do the work that they need to do. Do you want to go on to the time blocking pages?
Yeah, and I don't think we give ourselves enough time to do things. And when I was a leader, I used to really struggle with finding time to do my tasks. I'd fill my day with meetings, seeing pupils, talking to parents, and then at the end of the day, I'd have to start my long list of stuff to do. And then gradually, as I learned about this thing called time blocking, which, as you can see, is on the weekly spread, I learned to actually plan in time in my day to do my tasks, and it made such a difference to me. And so that's why the planners do now have hourly slots. So you can think, well, on Monday I've got to do an EHCP application, or I've got to do my school improvement plan, or I've got to plan a parent meeting. You can put it in your time slot for that day. And it will just remind you and keep you grounded as to how much work you have got to do. And then on the other side of the weekly page, there's a to-do list section so that you can keep on top of all of your tasks. But there's also key priorities. So you can have a look at your to-do list and think, well, what are my priorities? I'm going to block out my time. It's just a really helpful tool. Just keeps your well-being looked after, really, in busy weeks.
And we get what schools are like. It's no one day's the same. You can't really plan what the day is. You don't know what things are. But what the whole focus of this time blocking and why we think it's important is actually giving your time in the day to actually focus on some of the things, the more strategic things, rather than the firefighting things that go on in the day, and actually giving you time to do that. And in the long term, it would be better for you. As we say, we know what the days are like, and some days are crazy and some days are not so crazy, but you've got to make sure you anchor that time for you to deal with the things that you're doing. There's no point in doing it at 9 o'clock in the evening when you're all tired. You need to do it in the day so you can then focus on what you do. We did a wonderful webinar yesterday with Viv, and she was saying about, okay, the expense if we don't look after our school leaders, and we are the ones that have to look after ourselves. It's not anyone else can do it. We've got to make sure we look after if we have coaching or supervision and supporting each other, that we're not trying to do it at the end of the day, because we're just going to get burnt out. So this is prioritizing. Actually, this work is important to me to do today. I need to do it at this time and make everyone clear that you're doing it at this time.
And it's a really good point, actually, because it helps you decide what's best. So when you've got all of your lists down and you've written down all of your notes, you can then think, well, actually, what's most important this week? Which decision do I need to make this week? And how am I going to come across that decision? Because it's on paper, you can see it so much clearer, and it's out of your head, so you're not worrying about it all the time. You can actually go to the planner and think, well, actually, that will help me work out my next path. And then you've got a clear plan in your head, and you're not worrying about it constantly. So it definitely helped me like that. And I used my planners when I was in school, and it made such a difference to me. I was coming home at night feeling like I was prepared for the next day. And that is one thing I used to do, actually, Jonathan. I used to 2:30 every day, which I know not everybody can do, but I'd spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, looking at the planner and reflecting, like, how's my day gone? What haven't I done? What have I done? What do I need to add in for tomorrow? And I'd just update my list or my thoughts for tomorrow, and it would just help me feel a little bit calmer for the following day or the following week. It just made such a difference. And it meant that then Sunday nights I was ready because I didn't need to go to my plan. I'd already done it on Friday. So,
I mean, carrying on from that, on that page as well, it talks about well-being, celebration, priorities, and what you need to do. Do you want to go through that a little bit? Because that's an important part of what we're talking about.
So important, because again, I don't think we realise how much we do as school leaders. And I don't think we realise how little we celebrate that. And so I've put in a little prompt just to remind you all on the side here. One of them says reasons to celebrate. And it's like, what have you done this week which you're proud about? You know, what have you achieved this week? Or maybe you've noticed somebody else achieving something. I think too often we're always looking at what went wrong or how much work we've got to do, or all the bad things. But sometimes I think it's really important to just stop, reflect, and think, actually, what's gone well? Because we can all find one thing. And the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it.
And on that note, I did a blog before Christmas about reflections and reflective leadership. And actually, some of the blogs in that were saying at the end of the day, actually sit down and reflect on who has done something, or go and tell them, couldn't make their day. Actually, we need to do it, model it to them, and they need to model it to themselves. There used to be one teacher who used to come and say at the end of the week, "Oh, I loved it when you did this," and it made my day. Imagine how it feels the other way around. So the positive things of what's happening in school is actually sometimes it's really good to actually take note of and actually go and say well done to people.
Yeah, I think it's such an important thing, and I think it's often overlooked. I don't think we give enough time. So that's why I put it in the diary, so it's in for every week. For those of you who are asking, I can see some questions coming through. We are opening the shop on Valentine's Day at 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you are thinking about a planner, Jonathan and I are frantically getting the shop ready, and we have the 3 covers. So we've got Meadow, Cottage, and Contemporary. Again, as I said, they're all in the titles: Principal, Head, Deputy, Assistant, Senko, School Leader, School Business Manager, and Teacher. So the shop is now being created, ready to go, but it will be open on Saturday, Valentine's Day, at 9 a.m. in the morning. We have sold out, haven't we, Jonathan? And I'm so grateful to you all, because it feels so personal to me. These were my notebooks. But we've sold out every year for 5 years, so I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. If you're a repeat customer, it's very, very much appreciated. So if you're interested and you'd like a planner for this year, the shop opens on Valentine's Day. They're very good quality. I'm sure you can see they are A4 size, hardback, and they have a ring binder and a page holder ribbon at the bottom. And the most beautiful tab pages. I mean, I absolutely love them. I don't know if you can see, we've got a little illustration on each tab page that matches the cover of the planner. They're all being printed at the moment. So if you order one it'll be a pre-order for delivery in May or June. So yeah, really, really beautiful planners. And they're created by a local Norfolk artist, the illustrations. So if you're wondering how I've created those covers, sadly, it's not my artwork. It is. They've been illustrated by Charlotte, who's a local Norfolk artist who's just finished her degree. So we're very grateful to Charlotte for supporting us this year again.
I mean, one of the other questions that we have is what's the difference between the SENCO and the school leader planner and the school business manager planner?
That's a really good question. So the school business manager planner is designed for school business managers and people who work in the office of the school. So inside the school business manager important information, you have got things like finance, budget, governors, performance management, CPD log, items to purchase. You've got that statutory policy checklist because it's really important. You've got health and safety, single central record, staffing. So you've got all the same as everybody else. You've got your calendar and your diary and your meeting notes, but then your important information is designed for you. Your SENCO planner is probably more in line with a SENCO who's also in class. So if you're a teacher, but you're also a SENCO, the SENCO planner is probably best for you. It has got the impact of SEND provision in it. It's also got the impact of interventions, but it's got parents and carers meetings. It's got your group layout, your plan. It's got your display ideas, your seating plans, topic plans, timetables. So the SENCO planner is slightly more tailored to those of you who are in class. It's also got items to purchase, newsletter update, budget, finance, pupil information. So yeah, so more tailored towards the teaching end of SENCO role. But if you are a SENCO and you're not in class, then I've created the school leader planner, which is the head teacher, deputy head, assistant head, school leader file. That would be more suitable for you. So because inside all school leader planners, I have put the impact of interventions and SEND provisions. So because I felt at that time, and this is before Ofsted came out with their new update, I felt that it was important that all leaders knew. So that's why.
I just put the questions of if anyone has any questions into the chat. If anyone's got any questions about the planners or anything you want to say about them, please put them in there, and they'll be around for a couple of minutes to go through them. Do you want to just go through the planners again and show, especially that meadow one behind you? I'm so like.
Isn't it pretty? I really like it. I really want Charlotte to go into wallpaper. So this is the meadow cover for the head teacher, and it's for the 26-27 planner. And inside you'll see a little note from me, a dedication to all those who work so hard in school, and 5 reasons why you'll love using the planner, and also steps to achieve your goals. We've then put a little goal tracker on the back, so you can actually write your goals down, because we think that's really important. Then you go straight into the calendar, but as you can see, there's a very beautiful little illustration there. This is John's favourite bit, as he mentioned earlier, the planner. He loves to see the year as a whole, and I must admit, I understand why. It's a really helpful tool. So you've got every month there, obviously, your academic year diary. And then you go into the diary section. Again, another pretty little quote. You've also got the months of the year for 2027 and 2028. And then a little section where you can plan your events, your visitors, and your community links before you go into the 2-page diary spread. So each week is across 2 pages. So you've got your days with your time blocking on this side, and then your notes and your to-do list and your key priorities and wellbeing reminders on that side. And then moving past the diary into the meeting notes, again, a pretty little illustration. And at the front, you've got meeting notes. So I used to find it so helpful to just take my planner to the meetings, because then I knew everything was in one place. And in the back, you have briefing notes. So say, for example, you have a briefing, which is a shorter meeting every day, and then a staff meeting once a week. That's where you could record that information. And then here's your important information tab, again with another little illustration. There's plenty of sections for notes. So we have considered that you might want just a blank notes page. Here are the autumn term tasks for safeguarding, school improvement, kindly provided by John Lefebvre. And we have autumn, spring and summer for those. And then it goes through to school improvement plan, policy checklists, staff information, key documents. There's so much in this leadership information, because I really understand the role that you're doing. So I've put things like don't forget, useful information, budget notes, notes for governors, newsletter updates, impact of provision, performance management record, teaching and learning tracker. And it really does replace that, oh no, you're stopped in the corridor and you're asked a question and you think, oh, I've got to remember that thing when I get back to my desk, and you write it on a little bit of paper or a post-it note, and then you think, where have I put that post-it note? It just replaces that, and it just keeps you on track, organised and calm. That was the idea. And I must admit, having used it myself, it definitely worked. So, yeah.
So thank you very much for everyone for joining us, and really are looking forward to launching on Saturday 14th at 9 o'clock in the morning. We know how busy you are.
Yeah.
And it's just a walkthrough to explain, so you can see what's in each of the planners. There's loads of pictures on the website that's going to be launched in a couple of days. We also will be putting this recording into the community, and you can see it afterwards. If you want to have any questions in there, you can chat about it there, and we'll come back to you with the answers to those questions, so you can see from there. So yeah, Jeff, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy your evening. As I say, the recording will be put into the community for everyone to look at, and at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, the planner shop will be open.
Yay! And also, if you would like, I'm very excited, I must admit. I always get excited this time of year. If many academy trusts message us saying, can we buy a bulk order? The answer is yes, of course you can. If you just drop us an email to info@headteacherchat.com, we will assist you that way if that's easier. Some people buy them as gifts. They make a lovely gift. That's perfectly okay too. We've got a brilliant team behind us who are helping us post all of our planners for us. So if you've got any questions at all, please do get in touch. We'll be very happy to help. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you Valentine's Day. And you'll be able to choose your cover. I wonder which one you'll go for. Is it going to be contemporary? Is it going to be cottage? Or is it going to be meadow? Choices. I actually wouldn't know which one to go. I wouldn't know. I'd have to have two, I think. Maybe three. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks very much, and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.